let me ask you for the other executives out there watching, when this North Star was defined, like, are there like maybe like three easy steps that someone could take? I know it's a much bigger project than that, but what would you, if you had to distill it down into just like the basics
Yeah.
of creating a North Star, what do you think those would be?
Well, and keep in mind the North Star is a North Star for our business. This is our business strategy. These are our priorities that run Honeywell all over the world. So if I'm talking to communicators, I would say number one is understand very deeply your business strategy. Business acumen is absolutely essential to communications if it's going to be effective. If you're communicating about something that's not central to the business, that is probably time that you could spend more effectively elsewhere. So, number one is embed yourself in the business. Now, most business strategies are pretty complex and there's a lot of moving parts to them, and they're devised over years, they're tested, they're shaped. So, evolving with those strategies, a point in time is simply that. And there will be moments that you want to put your story behind, but you must also, as a communicator, watch and track very closely with a business strategy as it evolves and as the context of whatever geopolitical forces form around it. You really need to keep evolving and shaping your communication strategy to make it relevant. And then I'll say one thing that probably everyone knows already, but for avoidance of doubt, the stories and the simple examples that bring that business strategy to life, the lives that it changes, the products that it shapes, the change that it makes, the data, the did you know facts, especially a company that has been around for 100 years. We have invented many things over time, and it's wonderful and inspiring to remind people of those inventions, and it's a point of pride. Very simple examples, but very powerful when bringing a strategy to life.
Cool. And I think that will be very helpful for everyone to at least get a start, get build that foundation, to have somewhere for people to go towards at the end of the day.
Right. Because communications is a powerful thing, and it is a dot connector and a glue across the company. But it is always hand in glove with what the business aspires to be, and ideally is helping lead it in the minds of all your audiences to get to that aspirational point and then go to the next one that's ahead of it. So the change factor there is significant. And I think to really enjoy a career in communications, there's always the what's next question and continuing to ask yourself that, ask your teams that. And that's half the fun of it, because if you knew what was next, it wouldn't be putting the puzzle together. But I think as communicators, we do that every day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's kind of our job, right? At the end of the
It,
day.
it is, it is, it is.
But maybe because you mentioned change, and I
Mhm.
know that you had a lot of M&As and different forms of organizational change, especially over
Mhm.
the last year as well.
Right.
What would be your quick read on ensuring that people, when I say people, mostly employees, feel informed and not feel overwhelmed by that change? Because we know that that can be like really a difficult
Right.
time. And I'd be curious, like, what tips and tricks or strategies that you've used over, let's say, especially 2024, with a lot of change going on, to make sure that that vision, that mission is really simplified and people understand it and that they kind of buy into it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about that for us.
No, I'd be happy to. And that's a great question. And it's something we think about a lot here. Now, the good news is I'll anchor back to where we started with the North Star. So, all of the M&A activity that we've executed over the past year, and it totals up to $9 billion right now. So it is a pretty healthy portfolio. That is not a surprise because it all ladders up to our North Star. It is building our capabilities in automation, energy transition, and the future of aviation. And we actually announced to the market, this was pre me landing, but that we were putting aside a significant sum of money to make acquisitions with. We then told all of our people, we told all of our stakeholders the areas of focus, those 3 megatrends that we were going to align with on our M&A journey. And simplifying the Honeywell portfolio was broadly communicated. And each step in that journey, each acquisition reinforced that step that we were taking. So it should not have come as a surprise. And then there were things that did not align with those 3 areas. So our PPE business, for example, which was a wonderful growing aspect, particularly during the pandemic, right? As time moved on and we had that focus around the 3 areas, we announced recently that we were actually going to sell that business to another organization that had that as their core focus, therefore allowing our people who worked in that area to be further supported, to have a focus on the area that they brought to the table every day, and really grow and thrive in a way that they couldn't at Honeywell in the same capacity because of our North Star around automation, the future of aviation, and energy transition. So there have been additions, there have been subtractions to the portfolio, but in terms of communication, making sure that we're transparent the whole way and we have our plan laid out. We communicate around each step in the plan and then link that back to the North Star and the overall business strategy, which again, it drives communication strategy. These all work hand in glove, and doing it all with care and high respect for each and every person in the organization, making sure that we're always transparent, having our leadership move right out in front and communicate and answer questions with everything that they can tell our people. They stand up in town halls. They work with their teams. We take this very seriously, and it means a lot to our top leadership that they are doing everything that they can for people to make sure that they feel as comfortable as possible with change. And change is hard at points and hopefully very rewarding at other points as everything matures and moves on. So that's a little bit of a lens into how we handle these transactions.
No, sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I think for us as humans, like change is that one thing that it's coming, but we still don't like it sometimes. So it really makes it challenging, I think, in many ways
But
to communicate that.
I think there is a high respect and understanding that if you are going through change, having clear, regular, transparent communications, there's a recognition that that is being handled in a way by the company that we're telling you everything we can as we move through a journey. So
Yeah.
we do have, I think, a great relationship in that sense. And I can tell you from the very top of the house, there's a deep caring, there's a deep respect, and a deep understanding of what people want and need to know at every turn.
Hey, if you're getting value from today's conversation, make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss any future episodes of the Aspire to Inspire podcast.